Welcome to No Clip, the podcast that's like a book club for people who don't think that books reward them enough for being good at them. I'm Chad Ronan.
And I'm Andy Kinnick.
And today, we're going to be talking about Balatro, a game that was developed by Local Thunk, published by PlayStack, and released in 2024 on Windows, Android, iOS, macOS, Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and the Xbox Series X and S.
But first, and give us a like or a rating or subscribe. It would be greatly appreciated.
Balatro is a roguelike deck builder in which you are given a deck of playing cards arranged in the standard playing card way. And then you have to make poker hands which earn points in order to clear blinds, and then get to the end of the game. It's very boring, and no one likes it. Balatro is also a weirdly popular game for how sort of, I almost want to call it like banal. Like the concept of doing poker as a way of scoring points is almost like very pedestrian in a way. That I find interesting that it became as popular as it did. But I also do love it. I played this game for like 2 hours before the podcast, and that's because I played this game for like 300 hours over the last year. So I did not need much additional context for this episode.
Right. I guess, and on the flip side, I just continuing on the train of games that don't really appeal to me. Had not played this before the podcast, and yeah, I'll also like kind of similarly to like Vampire Survivors. This game does surprise me how popular it is, like for what it is. And yeah, so yeah, I don't really know how to quantify it. Yeah, 'cause it always does feel weird when something's like super popular that you feel like super neutral about. I feel similarly to Balatro as I do to like Taylor Swift.
Okay. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it's just something that's super popular that I think is just fine.
Right. I think the way that I interpret the popularity of Balatro as somebody who is definitely like in its thrall, I think that like, because I've heard it described as being a game that became popular purely on like a mechanical level, but I genuinely don't think that that's it, like, at all. I think that the genuine appeal of this is, even though it doesn't look like a whole lot from the outside, when you start playing it, it is the combination of like the sound effects and the visual effects that make doing even the simplest things feel very satisfying to do. And only then will the game's like mechanical hooks be able to get into you and pull you into marathoning the game for almost a full year straight.
Uh-huh. It does have like that quality of a good roguelike where like it is addictive in the sense of like you'll have a run and you'll lose. And then you think like, oh, like, because it's luck based, you know, like to a certain extent. You're like, oh, like I got a bad, you know, combination of cards. Like I just need to try it one more time, and then like maybe I'll get luckier. And you know, like it does have that feeling of like, oh, if I just do it one more. I mean, kind of, you know, it is based on poker. It is kind of like gambling in that sense.
A little
where you're
bit
like, oh,
gambling.
this time I'll hit big.
Yeah,
so I'll go for
that's
one more.
A fun fact about this game is that in some other countries, I want to say specifically in Australia and the UK, This game was like unrated for a long time because it depicted gambling. And I think that there's like still places where it's rated mature for gambling, even though this game bears, like, when you actually play the game, it bears almost zero relationship to poker, actually. The only thing about the game that it would genuinely teach you is what hands there are.
Yeah, it's somebody who's learned to play poker like 10 times and has always completely forgot the rules. I think they might actually stick this time after playing this game.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely know more about the hands than I ever have in my life. So that's something, I suppose. But no, yeah, and it's funny because like this is one of those games. I would describe it as a roguelike, as opposed to a roguelite, even though I'm not like a giant fan of that distinction. Well, because the game is, it doesn't have like anything that really makes new runs necessarily easier, but it does have unlocks. So I would classify it as whatever you would also classify The Binding of Isaac as, essentially.
It's a rogue medium.
Because it's like a rogue medium, because it is like a, how do I describe it? It is like, there are some jokers that you can unlock that are very strong, but it is still random chance whether you will encounter them in the game. Like, there's 150 of them, and they have multiple levels of rarity. And so it's not a guarantee that you'll be able to see anything. Kind of. If you were very good at the game, you can sort of force a build in this game over the course of endless mode. But that is like a very different sort of like meta gaming that I don't think is really this game's strong suit necessarily, though I will note is definitely the thing that like brings in views on YouTube. That is what I have seen for the most part. People will watch someone play this game for 4 hours just to get like a big number, but they won't watch somebody who's very good at the game complete the basic game on the hardest difficulty. It's very odd. Like, it's backwards from what a lot of other games are on like digital platforms, except for, I guess, like, there is spectacle to it, so it makes some amount of sense. Yeah, so I'm not sure. There aren't many places to really begin on this game. The way that we typically structure our discussions in that way, I'm not going to come in here and be like, the thing that this game really did masterfully well was tell a narrative. Because there isn't anything like that. It is a roguelike in the sense that it is a very mechanically driven game. There's no sense of any sort of like progression of any kind through a story or through even like level ups or anything. Those things don't exist. So this game really is just playing the same kind of thing over and over again with the random chance of what you end up with. So I guess I always am concerned when we do episodes on games like this. See RimWorld, for example, where it's a game that I've spent a lot of time in, but you have just started. It's difficult to sort of like gauge what the depth of conversation should be at any given time.
Right.
So I guess my question is, how did this game click with you ever, or did it click with you quickly? Was there a part of this game that was compelling to you, or were you just kind of going through motions playing this game?
I'll say I did like it more than I expected to. I don't really like poker or like most card games, weirdly, for some reason. So yeah, and I'm not a systems driven like player. Like usually like presentation and structure of games like really carry a lot of weight for me. So I kind of thought I might just come in here or, start playing the game and just like be just completely bored with it. But I think it is satisfying. Like, I would say it took it like a minute to click with me, but like, I don't know. I think it was like kind of like an organic kind of, or like learning experience, or like kind of a natural, like, I feel like, you said it doesn't really have like structured like level ups or a narrative, but like it is like kind of feel like knowledge based.
Yeah.
And I feel like it, first 2 runs or 3 runs, I kind of felt like I didn't know what the fuck I was doing at all. And I was like, I don't know what these tarot cards, I don't understand how those are good, and, blah, blah, blah. Just not really grasping what everything, like, the utility of everything is yet. But, like, I'd say, I don't remember exactly how many runs, because, like, I beat this within, like, maybe 4 hours. I don't know if that's quick or slow or in the middle. But, yeah, it took me several runs, and then I feel like I got a combination of cards that worked well together, and that's when I think things really clicked. I ended up getting like the furthest I'd gotten, but then I lost that one, and then I think maybe I had another one that was a wash, and then the one after that is the one where like the combination of cards that I got was like, I got a Joker that was like the pair of pants that makes 2 pair, like some kind of multiply, and I felt like it was easy to get 2 pair on like every hand almost. So I was like, that seems,
you're correct.
That seems really good. So I took that, and then I had another Joker that like gave you multipliers for every empty Joker slot. And then I just kept taking Uranus tarot cards that pumped up 2 pair, and so I would just try to get 2 pair on every hand, and then I took that to the end and beat the game.
Yeah.
So it was in overall, like, I think that was a satisfying experience of like being a complete outsider to poker and games like this, and then like learning how it all worked and then beating it. I feel like it was like a satisfying, like. So yeah, I would say it clicked with me at about, I don't know, I'll call that like an average speed, and I did get into it.
Yeah. As far as like the speed goes, like, I don't think there's not like a whole lot of value in that, because I think it just kind of depends on what kind of person you are. This game is less of a, like, if you're like a video game player, TM, whatever, and you pick up Hades for the first time, you could get pretty good at Hades pretty quickly because it's using a lot of very familiar systems. Balatro is like very much a like probability and strategy type game, which does have a lot of knowledge checkpoints, so to speak, where it'll be like, oh, like, how much do each of these things actually do for me? Like, being able to look at the game and quickly figure that out is really valuable for completing runs in this. So, like, this is one of those games, it's like this and Slay the Spire, which is a game that we will never talk about on this podcast, but if I have built up enough goodwill, I might be able to force Andy to play the sequel when it comes out later this year. We'll see what happens. I'm going to guess probably not. But all right, but there are 2 games that I am on like the subreddits for and have like looked stuff up on the internet about these 2 games at various points. And I always see people who treat the game as though it is the easiest thing ever put on earth, and they don't understand how people have these questions, or people who have played the game for like 100 hours and still haven't finished a single run. Like, it's just a huge like field of people, like where people land as far as like how easily these games go for them. I will say this is not a flex. I did beat the first run that I ever played of Balatro, like the tutorial seed, where it like starts you out with like the first couple of Jokers, and then it like lets you go on like ante 3 or whatever it is. I did finish that run. Like I got to ante 8 on the first run that I did. So I don't necessarily think that that's very good. I think perhaps I was lucky, and I also think that the tutorial seed probably is engineered more than random seeds to be beatable. So that's my assumption as to what happened there. But it hooked me almost immediately because of that. But what you described as far as like your first run, like after you get playing for a while, you know that the things that you need to like win a game are a way to get chips, a way to get malt, and then hopefully a way to multiply the malt.
Right.
So X malt, because it is commonly called. And that is exactly what you did.
Right.
You had the stencil joker multiplying the malt from the spare trousers, which you were getting chips from your Uranus cards. That's perfect. It's like the perfect setup, exactly what you needed to clear your white stage.
And like like the classic curve where like in the middle I was like winning everything on on turn 1. Before then ramps back up, and then I had to go to like hand 3 or whatever.
Right. That's the next level deeper, where you actually try and handicap yourself, like buy some jokers you aren't going to use so that the stencil doesn't multiply it as much, so you can boost the pants higher each game by playing multiple 2-pairs, then selling the jokers for the winning hand. That's like, I barely do that kind of stuff, and I've beaten Gold Stake on every deck at this point. So it is like there's like many levels of strategy.
I went with the red deck for the extra discard was the one that seemed the best to me from the ones I played with, but I only played with red, blue, and green though.
Right. Green is actively awful in my opinion. That is something
because those were the only ones I had unlocked before I won, and then like I unlocked everything after that. Yeah,
yeah. You get the new decks like each time that you win with previous decks, and then I think the more specialized decks you have to go up in stakes, like the difficulty level before you'll unlock them. But that is something I can't say specifically why this came to mind recently, but this is just speaking of Slay the Spire. One of the things that I complain about with that game is that it takes a really long time to unlock all of the different things, which I think would go a long way to making people enjoy the game more if they were able to access all of the different elements of it. I think Balatro kind of does that too. You have to in order to unlock the higher stakes for each deck, you have to beat the lower stakes one at a time for each of those decks. So you have to play the game like a million times to actually have everything unlocked. And some of the later decks are really cool to play around. Like the Abandoned deck is a deck that just doesn't have face cards in it. So it's like a very small deck, but it also cuts off like a lot of face card strategies which exist in a lot of the jokers. Things like Scary Face or Reserve Parking, stuff like that. And so it's interesting to sort of like have a wrench thrown in, but like also a boon. So you have these like differing strategies for each deck. I think I think it's really good. I wish it was accessible earlier in the game than it is. Because like to a new player, +1 discard is great. To a new player, +1 hand is great. $10 is probably seems exciting or seems less exciting. It is good. But like none of those effects are like mind blowing.
Right.
In the same way that like checkered deck, which makes it half the deck is just all one suit, and then the other half is all one suit. So it's like you have black and red cards. I think it's hearts and something else. I don't know. Clubs.
Yeah.
It is spades, actually, I think. Not clubs. I don't play checkered deck a whole lot. But it is. It's like a completely game-changing way of playing it. And so I wish that you had access to it a little bit sooner.
Yeah, it does. I hadn't really thought about it, but it does seem kind of silly. Maybe like unlocking things is a way to keep people playing, I guess. But like, I feel like they could unlock. I don't know how many there are in total, but it feels like they could unlock like 4 at a time or something. You know, like give you like it would be nice to like if you started out to have like 4 different things to choose from, or you know maybe 3 or whatever the number.
Yeah, I think, you should probably just start with all of the color decks, like red, blue, yellow, green, black, just from the start, and then maybe like beat a higher difficulty with any of them, and then you unlock the next tier of them. So like Zodiac deck and etc. Stuff like that. But then the Jokers, I think lay in that like weird zone for me where I like. I love unlocking characters in like Super Smash Brothers. It's like fun to do. I like that they have like little unique conditions to unlock them. And the Jokers kind of fall into that like one of the best Jokers in the game, tied with the best Joker in the game, because they do similar things. Blueprint, which just duplicates the effect of the Joker to that's furthest to the left in your Joker lineup. You unlock it by discarding a Royal Flush. So you like have to create a Royal Flush, which is difficult enough, and then just throw it in the garbage, and then that unlocks that Joker for you for future runs. So like I remember when I started this game, really enjoying like having the having like a notebook with like these are the Jokers that I need to unlock still, and like these are the things I need to do them. So like build the deck in such a way to try and like get that done, I suppose.
Right.
So I'm half and half on the unlocking systems. Also, before anybody says anything, there is an option in the menu to just unlock everything for free.
Oh, yeah.
But like, that's like that's not playing the game. That's not part of the game. That's a different feature. As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise. This does feel like the kind of game that would have a feature like that.
Yeah. Especially like people who want to like start a new file. You can just like to do like a specific challenge or something. You can just like hit that button and then have access to everything and not have to go through the process, which is nice.
Do you have a favorite Joker, or was that one it?
No, I think the best Jokers in the game are just the two Jokers that duplicate other Jokers, unsurprisingly.
Right.
I hate that you mentioned Pants, because now it's all I can think about.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, that was
definitely
definitely my favorite.
Yeah, that has gotten me through a lot of my gold stake runs, and like higher stake runs, because it is like an easy synergy to set up. I wonder if it would fuck up my recording to open Balatro right now. Just look at the Joker list. I don't know. For a long time, I always really liked the ones, like Idol, which is like it gives you multiplication on cards but it's like a specific card. Like it says like get 2x score or 2x malt when a 2 of clubs is played or something. So it's a card that rewards you for changing your deck as much as possible. But I think my actual answer to favorite Joker is probably Hack, which is like it's a stand-up comedian art,
right?
Like a Joker on a stage with like the spotlight on him, and it re-triggers cards that are low, like ace 2, 3, 4, 5 will get re-triggered, and it's like I like it flavorfully, and then I also like the art on the card, and I also just like I like re-triggering things. For some reason. That's like the thing that calls to me the most, because I feel like that's where a lot of synergies lie.
Yeah. I thought you would have like an answer for that like right away.
No, I never really think about it. But it is like there are a few that definitely stand out. I'm just like thinking about playing the game, and it's like the Jokers that I use the most are like green Joker,
right? Yeah,
who just like gets malt on it when I play a hand and loses one when I discard.
Right.
And it's like that got me through a lot of gold stake because it's just really consistent.
Right. Yeah. Tried and true.
Yeah, I think the perfect favorite Joker for me, maybe is Riffraff, which is a Joker that creates 2 common jokers every time that you enter a blind. So if you have extra space, it makes the jokers, and then if you don't like them, you can just sell them. So it gives you money, and it's gambling, which I love doing in video games. And it is good on high stakes and on low stakes. So like it really hits that middle ground that I like in everything, but it's not an extreme for me on either side.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I guess to change gears a little bit, you probably don't have much of an opinion on this because you beat it your first run. But upon finishing the game, and you've kind of like brushed up against this a couple of times, but like upon finishing the game, like I immediately texted you. I was like, "Is there anything else to experience in endless mode?" Because like I beat it and it felt like, like I enjoyed the game, but I was like, is that it? Because like it really feels like it's missing. And also you brought up Super Smash Brothers, which is weird because I was going to bring that up too. Like I was thinking of like Super Smash Brothers, like the original N64 Super Smash Brothers, and I was like, even that's got like a story mode and like a break the targets mode and a board the platforms mode and a multiplayer mode. Like I feel like it feels like it's like lacking at least like one other mode or like something else to do. Or like, it even has like the little Joker like NPC card that talks to you. Like it felt like it could have had like a little simple narrative or like some kind of structured thing to it. Like it felt like it was missing something to me.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. And I also I remember when you texted me that, my answer was just kind of like no.
Right.
Endless mode is like a thing that I do on runs, and sometimes I play for endless mode like for fun. But it is it for anything that isn't like one of 3 sort of prime strategies in the game, it is very short. You will almost always die on ante at like 10, and if not 10, on 12, depending on like what level of score you're getting, because the amount that you need ramps up so intensely. But endless mode is also kind of like solved. So I think when you are playing the game, if you play the game long term, I think that issue of it feeling like it's missing like a mode clears up, because you essentially have like competitive mode where you're playing like gold stake, like higher difficulty levels, where your choices matter a lot more and it's harder to meet the score requirements, and so the strategy is really intense. And then there's like high score mode where you're playing on the basic difficulty and just trying to get the numbers as high as you can. And that kind of fulfills that like need for a change of pace. There are also challenges. And I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion or not, but I understand the concept of the challenges, and I've beaten all of the challenges.
Of course.
But I found most of them to be not that fun, like as a concept. There are some that are funny, but that doesn't sustain it over the course of like a whole run. Like there's one that's called like 15-minute city. And you have the shortcut Joker and what the fuck else? It's been a long time since I've done the challenges. But it starts you with and ride the bus. So it's like, those are the 2, and they're locked in so that you can't sell them or get rid of them. So the idea of it is it's like, can you do it like a build? Like it's starting you with a build, and then you just have to play through the game and win using that build. And it's like, I like it on a conceptual level, but then playing it ends up just kind of feeling like playing the game normally. And then there are other ones that are like playing the game, but it's annoying. Like there's one, it honestly might be one of my favorites, but it was very annoying to play, and it took me like 2 or 3 tries to get through it, where every card in your deck is glass. which is I don't know if you've played around with glass cards at all.
I did not.
Yeah, they're glass cards are every time that card is scored, you get X2 malt, so they're like very high scoring
But
cards.
then they break.
But they have a 50% chance to break. Yeah, and then they're out of your deck. Good. So you start with 52 of those, and you start with the Oops All Sixes Joker, which doubles probabilities. So that instead of a 1 in 2 chance to break, they have a 2 in 2 chance to break, and will always break. So it's essentially try to get to ante-8 playing as few cards as possible, because every time that you play a card, you lose the card. Like, it just goes away from your deck, and it disables like other ways of getting cards, like the certificate Joker, or what are they called, standard packs.
Mm-hmm.
So that is also another like mode that the game has. I just don't think that like it's that. I don't think it's that enjoyable, I guess, was my takeaway from it. I'm sure some people love it, though.
Yeah. Where's the Gym Leader Castle mode from Pokemon Stadium?
Exactly. Yeah. One thing that I wanted to talk about and just kind of get your opinion on, because I know that you didn't play for like a super long time,
Mm-hmm.
but to me, if I was like... The actual elevator pitch of Balatro is probably it's poker with like wacky rule sets that you can get power-ups and do crazy things in. But for me, I feel like the thing that sells this game is like it's poker, but you can change the deck of cards.
Right.
Like the deck building part of this game is like my favorite part of the game. And not like it's my favorite thing to do because you just do it in every run. It's very sort of set in stone. Like that's just a mechanical part of the game. But it is like it's to me like the most interesting thing about it is that like there are things where one of those challenges, right, was the Jokerless challenge. It's the 20 of 20 challenge, the hardest one. And it just disables your ability to get Jokers. So you just have to win with playing cards. And so a lot of the deck building in that mode is like, how do I win the game? How do I set up my deck in such a way that I would get high enough scoring hands that I don't need Jokers? And I beat that using a deck that was focused on full houses, of queens and eights. I will not remember a fucking single other strategy I've ever used specific to this specific degree. But Jokerless is tough, and that is what I eventually beat it with. And it was like, what ratio of queens to eights do I need? How important are these cards that aren't queens and eights, but like maybe have a blue seal on them and can give me planet cards that I need to level up my full houses to get more points and stuff? So like, I don't know how much of like, I doubt that in your playtime you ever had a deck that was just like all one card.
No.
But to what degree did you engage with like trying to increase your odds of drawing certain hands or anything like that?
I don't know if I was just like bad at that aspect of the game, or if it was like the amount of time I spent with the game, but like it felt like that part of it didn't really get to shine that much, or like I didn't have as much like of an opportunity to engage with it, because like it was satisfying to like open packs and like see the different effects like different cards could have, like, oh, this one could be played and it'll count for as any suit, or and like that can help you have like make a, what is it when they're all the same suit? Is that a full house?
A flush.
Maybe I won't remember the rules of poker.
Try again, Balatro.
That makes it way easier to play a flush. And like I was like, I feel like I was scratching the surface of that stuff, but like by the time I beat it, I feel like I hadn't gotten to really play around with it, because like I was mainly focused on getting like Jokers and tarot cards over like adding cards to my deck in the amount of time that I played.
Right. I honestly, that makes sense and is the same way that I played for that's why I didn't think that you would have like a lot of experience with that stuff.
Yeah.
But it is like, I don't know. To me, that's the level up moment is where you like realize how important like that stuff is. And if you played any other deck builders, which when I played Balatro, I really had only played maybe a couple. Like I hadn't played Slay the Spire before I played Balatro. And that's the game that a lot of people credit as being like the roguelike deck builder progenitor. But I was focused a lot on like, oh, well, the Jokers seem to give like a lot of points. So obviously I want to focus on making sure that I have like a synergistic lineup of Jokers that I can use to beat the game. But then there is something like discovering the Immolate card is probably one of those moments where I was like, oh, okay, like I get it. Because what Immolate does is it just takes 5 cards in your hand and just incinerates them. And then as a consolation prize, it gives you $20. And $20 is a lot of cash in Balatro. Yeah. It can like quickly get you to interest, so like you don't have to save as much. And the 5 card thing is like, you want to be really careful about it when you use Immolate, because you're like, oh, I don't want to destroy the cards that are like the key parts of my strategy. But then when you play the game for a long time, you're like, I got Immolate, just fire that off. I don't care if it breaks like the most important card in my deck, because I can just get more of them later because now I have $20. So making your deck smaller is really important, and making and money is really important. So that card like skyrockets in value once you sort of like understand the Jimbo's hierarchy of needs in Balatro. So yeah, that's kind of the thing. Like for me, a lot of the selling point of what makes the game fun to play comes in with that like more, I guess, like less the more video game element, like for making it further away from actual poker by being like, my deck is like powered by 1 banana and also only has 25 cards in it. Like it's a very satisfying thing to do.
For sure. Then there could even be a separate mode that's like more focused around that aspect of the game.
That's true.
I had a weird topic of conversation. Not weird, but different. A swerve. So this game, I imagine this is not an opinion, like, or something that most people would even think about, but like, it struck me as odd that this game has a pixel art style. Because I feel like playing cards have like a rich history of like illustrated card art. So like I would just like, I feel like if you just told me about this game and I didn't know anything about what it looked like, I would imagine like a nice like line art style for the game. But yeah, not to say I dislike the pixel art. I think it gives it a unique feel. And I like the Earthbound-esque backgrounds and stuff. Gives the game a cool atmosphere, but like I find it interesting that the game uses pixel art rather than vector art.
Yeah, I do know the reason why it is like it is, but I also kind of agree with you. I've since played a couple of other sort of like playing card centric games, and they do tend to skew toward that like vector art, like illustrated style, and look beautiful, like for sure. I do really love the art in Balatro as well, but but as far as I'm aware, the reason that it's all in pixel art is because all of the art except for the Joker Vagabond was done by a different guy, but all of the other art was made by the developer himself.
Right.
This game was made entirely by one person, and then like one guy did the one song that's in the game.
Right.
And then there was one guest artist on the on that one Joker, but Local Thunk is a single dude, but he and so I think that was just like that's how he knew how to make art.
It's accessible
to an
him.
extent.
Yeah.
I will say
sense.
they have a like abstract Joker is either based on or after he made the pixel art for abstract Joker, he then painted it. So he is also a visual artist in other ways, but maybe pixel art is just like his comfortable like digital art format. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I really like the visuals in this game. I like them. I do like the art on like that basic level of just like I think that the cards look good. But I think that a lot of the like effects in the game really sell they sell the fact that having a number that's higher than 5,000 is exciting, which normally is nothing. Like if the game just like, if you played a hand and then the game said, this is worth 6,000 points. 6,000 is greater than the goal of 5,000. Here's $3. And it's kicked you back to the shop. It would be not exciting in any way. It's the fact that the game, like, you get that, you hit that 6,000 breakpoint, and then the fucking score bar sets on fire and is like, and makes a rumbling noise, and the screen shakes a whole bunch, and your jokers are like jumping around because they're triggering different things. Like all of the movement and excitement of that happening is what makes this game fun to play to a certain degree.
Yeah. We talked about this on Vampire Survivors as well. It's like that slot machine style of design. The lights, the flashing lights, the sound effects, just like the little like motions of the cards like moving around and the little kind of card sound effects, and all the little touches, do make it run that dopamine factory.
Oh yeah. Which is, if we're being very honest, what it is. I talked earlier about endless mode being kind of solved. That's not entirely true because there are other strategies that can get you to high scores quickly, but generally speaking, the way to like win at endless is because there is an end to endless. The game just like stops functioning after you get to ante 38, and like the score displayed necessary to win the round is just listed as NaN or not a number. So in order to get to not a number or nan inf, which is not a number multiplied by 10 to the infinite power, is what that's trying to display, but does a bad job of. In order to get to that, the most like consistent ways people have found center around a legendary Joker called Perkeo, which what it does is it makes a new copy, a negative copy, so it doesn't take up a slot, of one of your consumable cards that you hold in your consumable zone. And then you try and get as many copies of the card cryptid as possible. And what cryptid does is it makes 2 copies of a card in your hand. So you like get the Joker Baron, which gives kings like the steal card effect. It makes all the kings in your hand give you 1.5x mult. And then you get to a certain point where you can't win the game with just the cards in your hand, and then you start using all those copies of cryptid to make your hand bigger, and then you win over and over again. Eventually you can score up to the point where your score cannot be counted and displays as not a number. And so that is like the strategy to beat the game, to quote unquote beat the game in endless, and why I find it like less interesting to like force your way through endless every time, because it requires a very narrow set of circumstances to have happen.
Right.
Yeah. I forget what I was. I came off on that from something about endless mode, but now I don't remember. I guess it's just like the number getting higher. Eventually, the number getting higher loses its luster, is I think what I'm trying
Yeah, the
to
dopamine
say.
factory.
Yeah, it drops off when you're doing like a very monotonous, tedious things. How did you feel about the one song?
I feel like it was pretty good. I can't say that I got sick of it. And I do think the game has a cool atmosphere, and that song I think carries a lot of the weight when it comes to that. Yeah, like it is like it pairs well with that like Earthboundy background. It does give the game kind of like a mystical, mysterious feel. So that, and I was into that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the obviously I'm being facetious when I'm like that one song, because it has like a bunch of different variations to it, and I love how dynamic it is. For being one song, I like the fact that it is different when you're in a boss fight, and it's different when you're in packs, like card packs and stuff.
Yeah, it's a dynamic track.
Yeah, but I do think that the like that the thing that is miraculous about it is that I have played the game for 300 hours and also am not sick of that song. When I have complained about like RPGs reusing the same battle music the whole time, like I complained about it in fucking Trapped. I was like, why do they only have one song? Meanwhile, at the same time as I was playing Trapped, I was also playing Balatro, which I had been listening to that one song for 200 and some hours. I don't know, just like for some reason, it's just, I don't know how they wrote a song that was so background noisy that your brain like barely, it only interprets it as like a sound wave.
Yeah, it's like white noise
that you that you cannot get sick of.
Yeah. I'm not a composer, but like I feel like there's probably words to describe like that type of melody, like one that's like, because like a lot of early video game music was like that. It's like, well, this is gonna be playing on an infinite loop, so like it should be like catchy and do like X, Y, and Z things so people don't get sick of it. So I feel like there's definitely like techniques at work to make the song like as unintrusive or, you know, like not annoying as possible, but I don't know what those things are.
Yeah, they're doing some magic for sure to make that happen. Yeah, no, I mean I think that's fine. I think I don't have anything specific that I want to cover other than that. I could talk about like strategies in this game for like hours and hours, but like
Right.
I don't think that that's really germane to the podcast conversation so much, and it's like a level deeper than I think that in terms of just like gameplay than we would ever really go. So I think I can successfully hold myself back, unlike what I was unable to do on the RimWorld episode, and maybe make this an actually good episode to listen to for people who haven't played the game. I'll say it, and then I will explain why it's the perfect one afterward, because it doesn't sound perfect, and I want people to make sure they know what a genius I am.
All right.
I'm leaving all of this in the episode. Do we have Acrobat thoughts? Which is cool, see, because Acrobat gives you X3 mult on the final hand of the round. I'm a genius.
So my Acrobat thoughts are, so yeah, I feel like this is a good game. Like I feel like I was surprised that how much I enjoyed it, because it really on paper seems like something I wouldn't like at all. As I said earlier, like I don't really like poker, and I'm not a very like systems driven player. Like, you know, obviously like gameplay is king and all, but like presentation and things like that carry a ton of weight for me. So yeah, I feel like there's enough to enjoy here. Like it is like, it has like that I could go for one more run. It has that luck element that like kind of like triggers the like, oh, like I if I try it one more time, like maybe I can like pull things together or pull a card that I didn't before and make it further this time. And yeah, there is like a satisfaction to that. I too have a lizard brain. But I feel like I've said this about a couple of different games that we've played, but like I feel like this is a game that like I feel like I could have gotten more into at a different time in my life. Like I always talk about like the time in my life I played the most mobile games was like when I was in college and I had time to kill in between classes, and I could see myself getting into this if I had that kind of free time, like if I actually had time to kill. But yeah, games that you can just dump hundreds of hours into just aren't as appealing to me at this point in my life. So yeah, I feel like I enjoyed it a surprising amount for what it is, but like at the end of the day, like I thought it was, you know, just a solid time.
Yeah, and I think that's a great call out too. My personal opinion of this game, as far as like the average person goes, is I think that this is a great game. I think this is a like S tier game, like top of the top games. If you are the kind of person who wants to experience everything that it has and like really juice it and get into the strategy and like figure things out and do a bunch of runs. But I also think that it's like a solid like B plus A tier game for people who just want to play it casually on the basic difficulty, because it does do a lot in its presentation to make that exciting and interesting. And the less you know about the game, the more like kind of mysterious the Joker effects feel, where you're like, is this going to be like a big deal? And then you find out that yes, it is. And you're like, that's incredible. And this is something that we probably should have mentioned during the episode, and I just kind of forgot. I have to shout out the fact that part of the reason that that is true is because the all of the Joker effects are written in a single line. Like, they're very easy to like take in and understand, which is so rare. We played Gunfire Reborn on the podcast like a couple of years ago, and you made a note that it's like a huge fucking pain in the ass to have to read all of the abilities and like gun affixes and stuff to figure out what any of it is and if it's good or bad, and that like hurt your desire to want to play the game. Which is the same for me. Like, it hurt my desire to like want to learn new characters, because like it was always such a slow process. This game streamlines all of that into like very simple effects, which I think works super well to like onboard people into the game. And it makes it easier to spot synergies, because like they'll be talking about the same stuff, right? Like if this card works well with clubs, and then you get the moon, which turns cards into clubs, you're like, oh, obviously I want that card to use so that this other card becomes better because of it. So I think it's like it's a roguelike that is surprisingly easy to get into, given how the genre typically is structured around having like a very difficult baseline experience that gets easier over time. Balatro's is more accessible, easier to understand, and like gives you feedback in a way that even if you aren't doing like the best you could be, still feels like you're being rewarded for making smart decisions. So yeah, I love this game. Obviously, I fall into the former camp, so like that stuff barely applied. I would have nailed my hand to the desk in order to figure out how to do shit in this game, because I was just like enjoying it that much. Like if it asked me to do some crazy shit, I would have read through a textbook of Joker rules if needed. But I think that for people who are more outsiders to like the roguelike genre, I think that this game is still accessible for them. And I think that that's a great achievement that this game was able to accomplish. thank you for listening to No Clip this week.
What are we talking about next time?
Next time, we're going to be talking about Astrobot, the 3D platformer that released on the PlayStation 5 last year.
Hell yeah. I've been wanting to play it for a
Hell
while.
yeah. I'm just excited that I won't have to say Xbox Series X and S for the first time in a long time. But until that time, you can get a hold of us. All of our contact information is on our website at noclippodcast.com or on splattershot.pro, where you can find links to all of our old episodes, our email address, our Discord server where you can suggest games for us to play, the YouTube channel where we put videos of all of our episodes up, and you can listen to any of our old episodes, including ones that we did on Uma Musume, Pretty Derby,
Vampire
Downwell,
Survivors.
Vampire Survivors, Hades. I've snuck in more roguelikes than I had thought over the years. A Gunfire Reborn, which we also talked about on Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. Good shit. Make sure that you buy that Celestial pack to get an Earth card to improve the full house of people in the comment section.
I don't know. Royal flush that like button.
And go straight flush to hit that subscribe button. Ring the bell depicted on the Lucky Cat Joker art, which increases in effectiveness when you trigger lucky cards. Bye. All right, I got Wawa in my baba.